Hello, so my name is Uriel, and today I'm going to be talking about mindful meditation and how to practice it. If any of y'all have heard of Merkaba, this is just more of an introduction on how to practice mindful meditation in a Abrahamic, in a manner which a lot of people of us need to understand. And first we're going to start by what is it? Hagah is the Hebrew word for meditation. Tazkiyah is the Arabic word for purification, in which the Methodists and Pentecostals have a doctrine called the holiness or the sanctification doctrine, in which we see here a lot of where we get it from. It's simply setting the mind into interest, setting the mind, the emotions, all the five senses, and closing the physical and opening the spiritual world. But we use it as a way to attach towards God and be a light towards the world. If you're a Muslim, Surah Al-Shams 91, Surah Al-Shams verse 9 through 10 says it, or Hebrews 12:14, or Devarim 6:4 through 9. So pretty much what it stated was, every morning the Jews say the Shema, and Devarim 6:4, it's a way of meditating on the Word of God and His introspect. Hebrews 12:14, it's done with the concept of Messiah in mind. And we have Messiah in mind. It kind of opens how you're supposed to do it. And so Surah Al-Shams translates to successful indeed is the one who purifies our soul. Hebrews 12:14 is more of keeping a goal in mind. With it goes, make every effort to live in peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. And Devarim 6:4 through 9, I will explain it later with the Kedusha. Not properly, because the Shema has its own thing of explaining, and it will take a while to explain. But just simply start by reciting the Shema every day until a person is conscious enough to understand its meaning. When everyone should make practice for it daily, it should go hand in hand with prayer. As prayer is a separate act of worship towards God, while meditation is the purification of soul for God. It seems like it's the same thing, but in actuality, one is devoting themselves to God, and one other is making themselves a vessel towards God, in which we get into this giant wheel, or this spin wheel. The process here is an excellent image on how the process should be done. With this man being a good example, this is a masjid, a clean room. He's avoiding to be near food and water. He's not anywhere that might distract them. So these people have gone to sleep or are meditating. I do not know. Or maybe they're just relaxing. It's preferable alone for people that are advanced in this, but you can start off with a lot more people because it's a way to keep yourself grounded. the process. Maintain a proper and comfortable position. So there's different ways of praying and meditating in which all of these prostrations have a meaning. Kneeling is a way to show humility. Prostration, on how the Muslims pray, that's submission. Standing with the hands towards the sky demonstrates where our helps come from. Bowing, sign of reverence. Sitting on the floor. Sitting like this man, the giving and receiving of mercy. And in the Quran, in the Hadith, there's a story on how they brought the Torah and they sat the Torah in a couch, which it's a simple way to explain how mercy comes from above. And just standing up, needs to be prepared for what God wants. Also, avoid physical luxuries of furniture, such as sofas, ottomans. The sole exception would be chairs or cushions in which you're using to help yourself maintain a proper and comfortable position. And also elderly people, if they want to sit down on a chair, it's fine. But you're trying to alienate yourself temporarily from the world. And close your eyes. You could wear the kufi kippah to mind comfortable and the tzitzit, just mainly as a way to disassociate yourself from the current surroundings. Even if there's nothing around, it focuses your mind on the process of unity. Try not to gaze on the surroundings. So, the important part of the tali is the tzitzit with the 613 commandments. This is the tassels. The atara, it's important, but not as important. It's more as a physical reminder that this is the ground. The kufi kippah to the mind, remember, it's just a way to remind us that God is above. Close our eyes is the most important aspect, as in prayer. Contemplate on what the books you've ever read, the Torah. I personally suggest the wisdom books first, because there's the most simple, yet the ones that are written in a different format that will let you meditate on them. You can meditate in any book you want of God, but there's another way of meditating. Let's think of the divine names of God. So, Adonai Elohim is a name. I'm avoiding to using the tetragrammaton, but you could think of the letters and spell them out in your mind. Do not leave the mind blank. It's an important thing, because we're not trying to reach nirvana or a state of complete detachment. We're actually trying to attach the Echad, Ahad, the one is towards God. Please remember to use your breath as a way as a guide to not get yourself lost in the process. Here's quick tips. 5 minutes every day is good. 30 minutes or more, I recommend. If you're going to do it with more people, it's better to have a person that will keep you all grounded as each other, to ground ourselves back in our current reality and time. So the reality we're going to is a reality in which God exists, And the time is His time. And we have to come back towards our time. Meaning that we dissociate ourselves from the world to go with God, to come back towards the world and be a light. Here's a group of, I believe, a Methodist church, praying or sometimes meditating. Avoid water for around 10-15 minutes. And food. This is because body temperature changes when you're doing this. And you're trying to get yourself used to a holiness, because there's a fire. So the fire of God is what's bringing that spark. Ask friends and family to join, because it helps out with the grounding. Why am I talking about the grounding? So when Moses went up into the mountain, the people down there, he received the glory, and that glory is what we say that happened, and this is what we believe. I believe personally, Moses was doing, and the glory of God went into him, and saying that his face looked as if God's face was given to him. Prefer to be in a room without images. This is because some images distract. So if you have like what's called a Van Gogh piece, you're going to stare at the Van Gogh piece. Rooms with smell, so not be near a kitchen or near, a garden is a different thing, but because certain smells help you come back and grounded, while others help you meditate. The smell part is a tricky part, but I'm pretty much saying avoid the kitchen or being near a restroom with strong smells. And the next is animals. Animals, it's not because they're bad in itself, it's because you're trying to get a temporary access of purity. Well, not temporary, an access towards purity from God. It's not a I'm holier than thou thing, it's more of I'm trying to seek God to bring God to my community. And sometimes animals are rummaging around there with bugs, other animals, and these animals might contaminate. It's more of a physical contamination, but it could cause at times a spiritual contamination. It's not a bad thing to be around animals, which is a good thing to be around animals. But animals distract when you're trying to be with God. So if you're working in the field, it's better to do it for 5 minutes and then you're good, and then work with the animals, or work first with the animals and then meditate, because they have their own rules on how to deal with them. If you start visions, please contact a minister familiar with meditation. This is not because it's heresy to see visions. It's more to get what's happening with your mind, and also because at times there's some people that might exaggerate what they're saying. I'm not pointing fingers, hey, you're a bad person, and you're lying, and you're crazy. It's more of like, maybe what you're seeing needs an explanation, and the explanation is stems from somewhere. And so these are the 11 principles of meditation. The Naqshabandi, the pattern maker. We start with Hasdardam, conscious breathing. Then Nazar Barkadam, watching your step on where your mind is focusing. So if you're gonna start meditating, and you have to say, let's say, the 99 names of Allah, just think in which process you're going, and Shafar Darbutan, journey towards it. Don't be scared of what's happening. And then Halwat Dar Anjanam, solitude in the crowd. Now that there's more people around it, or you feel like there's angels around you, because you be careful, not of a be careful, be aware that this is a one-on-one intervention with you and God to purify the soul. Then you have God, essential remembers. So remember to give praise to God, and return back slowly. We're not trying to take away from the purification process. We're just trying to bring you back into reality. I believe live in. So when you start meditating, time feels different because it's the time of God. It's not our time. Then like God does, when you return, get attentive a little bit with the ears, the surroundings. Dust, recollect. Wukuf Zamani, be aware of the time. Wukuf Adadi, awareness of the numbers. Awareness, Wukuf Qalbi, awareness of the heart. Now that everything's done, was the intention to purify yourself or to glorify yourself? So these 11 principles of Naqshabandi is what we could call the wheel, the Merkaba. This is Merkaba in essence. Well, not in essence, it is. And nearly every community practices. And then we have the Ophanim, the spheres. This is a Kedusha, usually said around the Yom Kippur time. But this goes back with the Shema. Sometimes during the morning prayers, they say the Ophanim and the holy living creatures with great uproar raise themselves up, facing the seraphim. They offer praise, saying, "Blessed be God's glory from His place," in which you recollect what's happening and give praises towards God. Now, back towards this image. This is a state of mindfulness that we have to search and I guess we can start by doing a meditation ourselves and how we might help. There's different ways to meditate. This is the easiest and most simple way, and actually the most effective way to meditate. So you can start by covering your eyes on the right hand, but before this you can virtually purify yourself with water, so a water ablution, and then find a safe space, a rug if you want to, or the bare floor. Just keep the place clean. And then we're going to start with the Shema. You can start by breathing slowly, because the breath is what guides meditation and being grounded with oneself if you're alone. If there's other people around, it could be another person that could just keep their eyes open, because they're not meditating, they're actually helping us be grounded. So, in essence, they're still being with us, just not going to the same place that we're going. So, like here or Israel, the Lord our God is one. And so, Shema Israel, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad. So, blessed be the name and glory of His kingdom forever and ever. You shall love the Lord your God with all your might, with all your soul, with all your heart. And these words shall command you shall be upon your heart. So teach them thoroughly to your children. You speak of them when I sit in your house and walk on the road. You lie on your eyes. You shall bind them, son, upon your hand, and they shall be reminders between your eyes. You shall write upon the doorposts of your house and upon your gates. So, let's say that, what are you going to meditate? You just say it and think about it slowly. And think of what it means, how we can apply it when we use it, and just achieve a unity towards God. We're not trying to glorify. Honestly, it was more of like, hey God, we're here. So, when you're done, use the breath to recollect. Just keep a few minutes of silence to let your mind go through whatever it has to go through, because these minutes of silence are going to be very loud in the mind if they're not loud yet. And after that, the numbers thing aspect is what you have to listen. And then when you're done, you can say Amen, Bismillah, whatever you have to say to get recollected with God into this reality, into our current time. Because this reality and the reality of God is the same. It's the same one. It's more of how time is different when being with humans versus being in the spiritual world. Anyways, this is a nice quick video for y'all. And Amen.